Reversing around a corner to the right, you can see that the side of the car with its two door handles is parallel to the straight curb I've got behind me. So I'm going to select reverse gear, make sure it's safe to move. The proximity sensor bleeping is just because the bush in front of me is close to the front corner of the car. I've rechecked again to make sure it's still safe to move. I go back slowly, checking mainly behind me, certainly over both shoulders, essentially in the direction that the road continues, which is to my left, because that's where the biggest danger would come from. And when the front driver's door handle touches the first curved curbstone, that's when I'm going to start to steer. I've steered half a turn, but the curb's moving across the right hand side, so I need some more steering, so I've put on a second half. In other words, I've turned the steering wheel one whole turn, so the wheel looks upright, but the car is patently going around a corner. And I'm keeping about the same distance from the curb, but you can see it's getting closer now, so I'm going to undo a quarter of a turn. Still doesn't look like enough, because that door handle's touching now. I can't afford to continue going back, or that rear wheel is going to bump into the curb. So I'm going to take off another quarter and another quarter. Now it's on top of the curb, so I'm about to touch with both the rear wheel and probably the front wheel if I continue back in a straight line. So I'm going to take off the final quarter of a turn and move very slowly, checking behind me to make sure I can't feel the tyre brushing into the curb. The groaning from the brakes is perfectly normal when you're moving very slowly and moving the brake pedal up and down. Now I can see that my car is no longer parallel to the curb, and it's not a tangent to the curb either, so I'm going to need to reapply the steering. So half a turn, one turn. Is that enough? Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Curb's still in view, but I think we need another quarter of a turn to get the rear of the car, where the rear handle is, even closer to the curb without having to go back too far. Now we're coming in towards the curb. I can start to undo. That's a quarter off, a half off, three quarters off, and straightening. And now I steer to the left a quarter of a turn and see if the two door handles end up both touching the curb, which it looks like they're about to now, at which point I straighten the steering wheel so that the Lion is on its feet. And there we are, parallel to the curb, or as near as we need to be.